Hi, Jason. Thanks a lot for joining me for a couple of moments here. I just wanted to take a few moments just to be able to talk about our first several months, about first 6 months or so working together, just to be able to talk a little bit about where we were at and more specifically where your business was at, and about how we found out about each other, how we started working, and then where things are at today. So does that sound good to you to cover those topics?
Yes, no problem. Yeah, for
Perfect.
sure.
Right. So just I guess to start off, Jason, we started working earlier this year in March, and we'll get to a major global event in a moment here. But could you just describe, even before we had been introduced to each other, where your business was at, where you're looking to go, and how come you started thinking about even getting some assistance on the marketing and lead generation side?
Sure. Yeah. I guess really where we were at, we were mostly referral based, most of our clientele, and we did a little bit of marketing through, Cottage magazine and some of that kind of stuff, but nothing digital. We didn't have any kind of online, marketing plan in place, and we wanted to grow, and so we figured this is one way that we could hopefully be able to get in front of more faces. And get some more target marketing out there, and so that was the kind of the decision that we made.
Okay. Yeah, and I know, again, we were referred to each other. We have a mutual acquaintance, business partner that we're working with. But so things, went pretty quickly in terms of us getting to know each other and seeing if we were a good fit for each other. But I was really impressed right off the bat, and we really look for people that have great quality products, great services. They offer great support, and your business was doing quite well, and it had been around for a long time because you built an incredible product, right? And your service really is outstanding. So, we definitely jump at opportunities to work with companies like that. And what I had, my initial observations, and it's one of the things that have solidified our focus on the lead generation side, is that you have and had at the time a great product, as I mentioned, a great brand. Like, you really knew at the time, and still do, what you stood for, what you don't stand for, what your value proposition is, so that you, like a lot of businesses that I'll be introduced to or meet with, they don't know that much about their business in terms of what they stand for and what they don't, and you really were very solid on that. You had a great website that was very, quite modern and worked really well, and it seemed like, again, from when we were introduced, that really the big challenge was, getting more MQLs, so marketing qualified leads, that you could turn into SQLs, right?
Totally, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, as you were, talking with different companies and even getting to know us a little bit better, were there any things that you were maybe uncertain about? Again, when you haven't ventured into the digital space, you could potentially question, will it actually work? Will we get a return? Those sorts of things. Did you have any questions like that going through your mind at the time?
Oh, definitely. Like, especially when you're not used to the digital world, and I honestly 100% did not believe that Facebook would be as huge of a lead generation channel. Yeah. I definitely had my doubts on that, like, big time, because I was kind of thinking that Facebook's kind of a thing of the past. But it's definitely, I think by far the top lead gen channel, that I think through our experience. I mean, granted, our customer demographic is between 45 and 60 kind of age, so that might be still where they are, but more popular in that demographic. But that was the one big question I had. That was solved. That was answered quite quickly. Yeah. But yeah, no, that was really the big thing, and I didn't, I guess, just not knowing, you haven't gone through it before, and so you just kind of, everything was a bit surprising, right? Well, not surprising, or you just didn't know. You don't know what you don't know, right? And so that was interesting to me.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it was great to see the impact that happened for your business, and it was definitely a challenging time, which we'll talk about in a moment. But one of the first things that our teams did, right, with Facebook, was just to be able to get some awareness, and we had run a contest, and that really, was a great first step in the Facebook world, right, to be able to get some engagement. And ended up, having a significant increase in your contacts. Right now, it doesn't mean those are all qualified leads that are going to, buy a timber frame, home. But again, it's people that are familiar with you and engaging with you, and they've given you their email address or subscribe, or not subscribe, but followed you on Facebook and so on. So yeah, definitely we were able to see a quick impact there. And we really should, I guess, address that. We started working together at the beginning of March, and 2 weeks later, things went sideways with COVID, right?
Yeah.
Like, we had some stressful discussions during that time.
Basically, for us, our pipeline froze right solid for probably nearly a month. Even the people that were on it, current, families that were moving down the sales cycle and getting them into their dream home or cottage, everything just halted. So yeah, it was quite a stressful time because nobody knew what was going to go on, and so there was all kinds of thoughts going through a person's brain. But here we go, we engage and get more marketing, and we created a new vertical, and yeah, it was great.
Yeah. So no, it was really an interesting time. Again, that's maybe not the right word, but it definitely was challenging. And again, with your product, again, it's very high end, high quality, and you have a certain demographic. Generally business owners, right? And from my experience, going through the recession in 2008, and even this, like, wealthy people are still wealthy during those those situations, right? And oftentimes that they're making even more money, and increasing their wealth during that time. But, because of the uncertainty, and this better than I do, but, it just gives people a reason to pause, right? Before they spending hundreds of thousands or a couple million on a new property or a cottage or home, right? So that definitely was something to work through at that time.
Yeah, I mean, even the customer that we were working with at the time said, had this been a year prior, they would have held off for a year. They would have maybe delayed for a few months, or the whole. So yeah, it's interesting to how each person manages themselves differently. I mean, wealthy people are wealthy, but they're also very smart, and so they don't do anything if they don't know exactly what they're doing, right? So it's
Yeah, well, and we're definitely not out of the woods yet, but definitely there's, I'd say, more comfort at least, and it's normalized a little bit, and again, we're somewhat getting back to well, as close as we can get to what it was like before. Anyway, we've still got some ways to go there, but no, for sure, definitely interesting times, and still challenges ahead, of course, right? So, looking back at the summer, we had the contest. That was one of the first things that we kicked off. There was a, open house in June, which again was challenging with COVID, but we're able to figure out a way to be able to get that to work. Can you think back to a time over the summer where it was maybe the first or second instance where you recognized that, hey, the activities that our teams are working on is actually starting to produce some results? Anything jump out at you there?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously our website, we spent a lot of time bettering our website. I mean, it started off, we rebuilt it, what 2 years ago now. Relish did a good job there rebuilding it. But we just refined it, and the big thing was, with the open house for that matter, we had to delay it about, about 6 weeks or so, or even 2 months. Normally do it in May, did it in June. It was nice though, because what we had found prior with the open houses, you could have 100 families come through over a weekend, but there was maybe only 5 that were actually, SQL, like actually qualified customers, right? And so we changed it, and COVID kind of helped us in that way, because we made it to almost more of like a VIP event where, people registered, and then we could manage the schedule and be completely prepared for the families that came in and well educated. So that was a big one for me, changing it to more of a VIP. I feel people felt almost a little more special kind of thing out of it. And we still had a good turnout, there was, and good results. What else was there? Yeah, I mean, the general awareness, the more people, knew about what we were up to, right? Like it's one thing, we're, as large as the province is, it still is quite small, right? But if you're not out there, even this small little province of 1.2 million people, you might have a majority of people don't know you, right? You have a fantastic product and service, people just don't know, right? And so that was a big one too, just having more more emails, more phone calls. That was a big one too.
Yeah, great. Well, one thing I really enjoyed working with you on and was just building out the different systems, right? And identifying in your business that you really have, the build side of your business, right? And then there's the rental side of the business, right? And yeah, even again with COVID, you've got a brand new like 9-acre island coming to market.
Yeah.
It's just an incredible journey, that's for sure.
A little bit of stress there, yeah. And then, but we also created the enhancements, right? We also started that vertical, and that exploded. Obviously everybody knows that this year through the pandemic, people are staying home, spending money at home. So there was that, that flew off the charts pretty quick. And it was nice. Actually we're working with a family. We're just going to start this fall, hopefully this winter. There's a couple of them that didn't know that we did that. So they called and said, "Hey, we saw on your website that you do enhancements. Like that's renovations, right?" Well, yeah, it is. Yeah, that's basically what it is. But we didn't know that, so we were stoked. And so it's been interesting how that's all kind of come around.
Yeah. Well, I have to tell you, I have obviously had a lot of respect for you before, but even more so now going through this process. You really handled this whole situation very well. Again, I know there's lots of stress, but rather than, folding your tent or putting your head in the sand, you pivoted your business, right? And you said, this is what we want to do, but we can't go after right now. This is what we are really good at. Let's add, this to the mix and let's take it to the market. So I know it's a big question mark if it would work, but really for you that it turned out so well.
That's entrepreneurship, right? That's only a business. You have to put you can't just put one step out the door into the new opportunity. You have to just jump into it and see what happens, right? And it's a risk reward, I suppose.
Definitely. Well, you made the right call there and did a great job with pivoting through that process. And just without getting into too much detail, going back to the processes there, that's something that, with your business, that those assets are now in place, right? You have your building and rental processes and systems, and now, we can, funnel more traffic in or dial it down as needed. So it's the reason I bring that up is, I mentioned that to a lot of business owners that, we're not just doing a video for shits and giggles, right? It's for a very specific purpose, and this video or this system, this pipeline it's a business asset, and we want to get it in place so it can continue to generate results, for your business moving forward.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, that is, it makes it so much easier on the sales side. The stuff just kind of pops up, the little reminders in your CRM. It's forcing us to go out and find a sales support staff person just to make sure we can manage and take care of every person that inquires. And that's one thing that we truly it's very, very important to us. I think that's been part of our success, is just that every person who contacts us, we need to treat them with as much respect as we can, right? Because to us, the cottage is family, so everybody who calls is potentially a family member coming in, right? So it just gets really busy, so we need to just add some help, and so it's good. It's been great.
That's awesome. Well, that's a good segue, I guess, to Steve, my last question for you. Again, it's been just over 6 months working together, and we've talked about, the bright spots and challenges along the way, but, as the CEO now, where are things at for your business, and how did marketing play a role there? Like in terms of your mentality or where you see the business, you just talked about creating some new jobs to be able to deal with the leads. What's the life of the CEO like now compared to back then?
Yeah, well, I think what the realization that I got was for the many years I thought that our company was not scalable. That we couldn't grow this thing because I was so important to every customer that we worked for, and it was important that I was involved in every conversation and through that all. And the one thing I did learn is that I am the blockade. I'm kind of standing in the way of our company, be able to provide our services to many families to have the lasting memories, right? So that was the biggest thing I probably learned out of it all. And so what we've done is we've just kind of flipped our org chart upside down and reshuffled it. So we've just changed things around. We had a lead framer that was kind of most in the build side. He's going to jump into the project manager, estimator of the enhancement side. And then our current project manager, the build, he's going to do the project manager, the enhancements there, and estimating on the build side. And then we're going to bring the sales support that can take care of the sales side. And then, so it just gave me a very clear mindset of that, hey, I can scale this thing, right? And it doesn't matter who, if you're not a referral, it doesn't matter who picks up the phone on the other side, right? Like, it doesn't have to be Jason Fehr, the founder and CEO of our company. It can be a very, another person that is can do the same, communicating, right, with them and carry them along the process all the same. And the team of production side will be the same anyhow. So that was the big thing for me, just that big realization that I needed to maybe get out of the way of this machine that, so many people want to be a part of, but I just wasn't able to do it. And I just it's exciting, very much so.
Oh, that's great. Well, yeah, you've been in business for a long time and run a great business, and it's exciting to see the transition, right? And
yeah,
to be in a position where you're able to restructure like that for in a positive way, right? There are people positive situations in your business. So that's
yeah.
Great.
And another big one too is, or a couple, is that I've always had the property side, like the, providing families to build memories at the lake is huge for me. Like, that's what I always wanted to have. I never came from anything that we had that. And so having these properties is just, it's really exciting to me to have people build to experience luxury lake life. And I love hearing the stories and seeing photos and hearing the memories that they're made. And so it's going to free me up to be a part of that more. That's exciting for me. And I'm hoping, long term with, the way things go, I'd like to kind of get more involved in a bit of a mini wish foundation where we use our properties to help families that are going through struggling times. Because now travel, we don't know what travel is going to be, especially to the States, to what's it called, Disney World or Disneyland. Like, that's a very common place for the Wish Foundation to send people. So I'm thinking that, we have gorgeous properties, like, just why can't we help there? So there's some things in the future that I'm looking forward to, but this is the only way to do it, is by, getting lots of marketing and building up the team properly to be able to free that time. So it's exciting. I'm looking forward to the next number of years.
Well, very good. Well, good. I'm very happy for you. And that's a great initiative. Caddy Lake Cottage would be amazing for that, right? And very accessible and just a beautiful private spot there. So we'll get to be able to, think about initiatives like that. So, well, thanks a lot for taking some time to be able to answer, my questions just about our time going through this process. It definitely has been a real pleasure working with your business. And again, we've gone through some interesting times and there's lots of work ahead, but it's nice to be able to see, that you're in a position to be able to transition the business and to grow it. And, even to a point where right now, really all of the advertising is turned off and we're focusing on more things about strengthening the business and building more of those systems. So when we need to, drop the hammer and bring more leads in, we'll be in a even a stronger position at that point.
Be prepared and hopefully, have more digital assets and better team and to be able to, help more families. Yeah, for sure.
Right on. Well, thanks for sharing your feedback, and I definitely appreciate the opportunity to be able to work with you to build your business and see big things for you to come.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Lionel. It's been great.